Hello everybody, Dan here. Welcome back to Daily Soap Dish. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below because we cover a ton of 90 Day Fiancé right here on the channel. Alright, so let's get into it. Today we have a story for you guys about Yohan, Geronimo, and Danielle Gates. And these two are Splitsville once again because I feel like we've seen the scenario play out on the last season that they were on the tell-all, when they split and went their separate ways, and then they came back and were still together. Now they're splitting again. Yohan is calling off the relationship, and he is basically saying, that's it, we're done. And, now there are some interesting things about this whole split that I want to go over. The argument is about whether Danielle lied to Yohan, and also about the finances. How much is Danielle paying? How much is she financing? How much is Yohan financing? And so on and so forth. So let's take a look at exactly what is going on, and then we'll discuss. So clues that gold digger Yohan might be back with Danielle in America. So this is the other part of the story. And right before we get into this article right here, if we go and look at Danielle's latest Instagram, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's not on the screen, but the location of this video is Miami. Sorry, not Miami. It just says Florida. And so, Danielle posted this yesterday, allegedly from Florida. And it looks like Florida because I could see the reflection in her mirror there. And, you have those coverings that are very typical of Florida. So that very much looks like Florida. And so she's back in Florida. Is Yohan with her? Or are they completely done? Okay, so we'll get back to this in a second here. Let's go and take a look at this article. So the clues that they might be back together and in America. Now, Danielle and Yohan's intense fight has been teased on 90 Day Fiancé the other way. Find out if they get back together after Yohan leaves the house. He just leaves. Now, Yohan and Danielle's relationship is shaky, but they're still together, at least according to this article, despite their fight in, episode 19. Now, Yohan feels cheated by Danielle because she moved to the Dominican Republic instead of fulfilling his American dream, leading him to take money from her bank account. Now, Yohan gets frustrated with Danielle and decides to leave her. He packs his clothes and takes their dog with him, so it's uncertain if they'll reconcile in the future. Now, the 90 Day Fiancé the other way star Yohan Geronimo's current relationship status with Danielle Gates is puzzling at best, but it doesn't mean they aren't together after their fight in episode 19. Yohan's a 32-year-old from the DR, Danielle 43, began dating when she met him during a vacation. They got married within 5 months, and Danielle moved to his country after quitting her teaching job in New York City. Yohan had other plans when he married Danielle, but those dreams haven't come true yet. And those dreams, of course, everybody knows them, was to come to the USA. And we just did a video about Miona and Jabri, and Miona perhaps using Jabri for a green card and then kind of washing her hands of him as soon as she was able to. And perhaps Danielle, even though I do think that she used Yohan, perhaps she can see that this is going to happen and it's inevitable, and she just wants to prolong this kind of fantasy that she's living in the DR. That's my theory about Danielle's behavior anyways. I think she knows in her head, heart, and soul that Yohan is hightailing it out of there as soon as he can after he comes to the US. And to be honest, Yohan hasn't exactly been very coy about it. He hasn't been very shy. He's been very explicit about wanting to come to the US. That's his dream, he said in another episode. So obviously he's using her. He's even admitted to it himself, and obviously she's using him. They're using each other. And now they got married within 5 months, and so she moved there. Now, Danielle crushed Yohan's dreams of coming to the US by moving in his country instead. Now, he even begun learning English so he could work in America and send money back home to his loved ones. Yohan held a grudge against Danielle for not fulfilling his American dream. Now, when she finally agreed to take him to America, she wanted him to apply for a tourist visa instead and not a spousal visa. And I think that's the red flag, that Danielle knows that if Yohan gets proper status in the US at her expense, so to speak, he is going to leave her for greener pastures as soon as he can. And we just went over that in the Jabria Miona video. That's about 2 years after getting that card. Now, Danielle couldn't trust Yohan enough to bring him to her country, but Yohan had only married Danielle because she was American and had promised him a good life. And here is where the arguments start. Now, Yohan started to take money from Danielle's bank account since he felt like Danielle wasn't giving him what she'd promised. Danielle caught Yohan after he used her ATM card to withdraw a total of 160 American dollars. Danielle wasn't bothered by him taking the money, but by the fact that he kept denying it, basically keeping it a secret, being very sly about it, and I totally understand where she's coming from. Now, Danielle gave Yohan an ultimatum that she'd require half of the money they spent as a couple at the start of every month. And if he didn't pay for it, he could go stay at his mom's house. Danielle asked Yohan for rent money again in episode 19, and she said that he'd agreed to give 70,500 pesos for half of the things in the house. Now, Yohan claimed he did not have any savings, but only had debts because he was paying for the house and the rent of their car. Yohan claimed he didn't have anything left for himself, not even a pair of shorts. He reminded Danielle that she never told him that he'd have to pay 75,000 pesos to live together with her when she moved to the DR. You said, we'll have a good life. And you said, I'll get my papers. I don't have, exclamation. I don't have anything, basically is what he says. Now, he leaves the apartment with her dog. Now, Yohan told Danielle that she'd helped him with nothing so far. This relationship is going nowhere, he added. And he also told her that he was tired and was leaving her because he'd had enough. So, he packed all his clothes in a suitcase while Danielle kept telling him that she had bought the clothes for him, so they weren't his to take. I'm at the end of my rope, he told the cameras before picking up the dog, Gizmo, and walking out the door. Give me the dog. Danielle could be heard screaming at the end of the clip. Now, there were talk of Danielle and Yohan getting divorced at the end of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way Season 4. However, the couple decided to get therapy and stay together to film Season 5. Both Danielle and Yohan's social media pages do not indicate that they're still together. Her current IG updates reveal Danielle is in America, but none of her updates feature Yohan. He did spark rumors of making it to the US in September 23. However, Yohan revealed the photo was clicked in the DR. Still, according to an In Touch report, Danielle suggested she and Yohan were still married via her Instagram stories, and that was back in June of this year. It's certain that Danielle and Yohan want to keep playing mind games with fans and suggest they aren't together anymore until they reveal the truth during the tell-all. So, do you guys think that they want to play mind games with us? And this was the clip here, and where Yohan, in dressed as Santa Claus, is having, he's having a fit over everything. And he's saying that Danielle did not pay for anything whatsoever. She didn't do anything for him whatsoever. And I find it very interesting. And perhaps you guys let me know what you think about this. But I find it very interesting how as soon as the money issue comes up once again, Yohan is like, yeah, I'm going to pay for everything. No problem. He tries to act like the big man, even though the episodes before, he was basically saying, yeah, she should pay for the car. She should pay for a condo. She should pay for an apartment. She should literally pay for everything because that's just the way it is. And he was even talking about how he had another friend that, his American woman, I forget if it was a wife or not, paid for everything, car, apartment, everything. And he felt entitled to it. But as soon as he got called out on it, he's like, well, I'm going to pay for everything. No problem. And then the episode after that, he's like, that's it. This relationship is completely done. I'm out of here. I'm not going to the US. And now on top of that, I have to pay for all of this stuff. Forget about it. This relationship is completely done. So I find that very interesting. And, I feel like a lot of people actually were favoring Yohan, on the season. But I feel like he's kind of shown his true colors. He's very obviously just trying to use Danielle. And I think very obviously he would use anybody else if he could to go to the US. I mean, he hasn't been very coy about it. He is being very open. He's putting his intentions out there. And so I do think that Danielle should have been more forthcoming with him. And to be honest, I don't really understand why they're still together. They've both kind of used and manipulated each other, in my opinion. But, so this was the post that Danielle put up yesterday, so from Florida. And I wonder if this breaks the NDA, because we've had a few people break their NDA this season. And I wonder if this crosses the line, because she's in Florida now. And she said this, on transactional relationships, today's new moon in Scorpio is a great time to evaluate your relationships, who is in your life because they genuinely love and care for you, and who is in your life because they want to use your energy or resources for their own benefit without disclosing their true purpose. There's nothing wrong with a transactional relationship as long as all parties involved have co-signed the purpose of the relationship. If you invite me to lunch to sell me a course, let me know this is a business meeting. Not only will I never buy anything from someone who attempts to manipulate me, I will also terminate the relationship. Use today's new moon to make a list of all the things you desire in your relationship, at home, at work, or at school. The new moon is a time to focus on what we want to do, or what we want, not what we don't. So light a candle, play some binaural beats, and visualize healthy, happy relationships in your life. They're already yours. Now, I rarely save lives, so they're not as easy to cut up and redistribute. Copyright violations forms are tedious, but okay, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. So she is posting. Now, the interesting thing here is, I think, this part where she talks about transactional relationships and how, in her mind, they're totally fine. And you know, I guess for her, it's totally normal. Now, she says, I will also terminate the relationship if somebody tries to manipulate me. So I don't know if she's hinting here at a final breakup with Yohan Geronimo, but in the article that we just went over, I thought it was interesting that, you know, they touched on the part that these two are trying to manipulate us. So it's funny Danielle is talking about manipulation in a relationship, but I'm pretty sure Danielle has tried to manipulate us, you know, the fans, the viewers, and everybody, constantly going back and forth from, oh, we're broken up, to then, oh, we're back together, and oh, we're broken up, and then having a meltdown, and then accusing Yohan, going on lives and saying that, you know, people that are on Yohan's side are, you know, they're just completely brainwashed, and she doesn't understand how, you know, how they're on his side, and you know, constantly putting conflicting information out there just to create and stir up drama. And I think that Danielle has kind of mastered this, which is why it's hard to believe anything she says at face value. In my opinion, I don't know how much I take her seriously anymore, just because this is not the first time she does this. It's not the first time that this couple breaks up. And then it's not the first time that she puts out these videos out there. So how much of this is true? What exactly is she talking about when she says, I'll terminate the relationship? I don't know. Maybe it's a final breakup, but I wouldn't bet on it, you know. And she also posted this maybe about a month ago.
I haven't really spoken to people in my private life about my relationship. Yohan and I were pretty isolated in DR, and all of my people are in the States, so I really didn't, I don't know, I just didn't talk about my life much. There were moments where some catastrophic things happened and I had to make a phone call because I was going to lose my shit. But I've really utilized therapy, I've utilized the Livians Collective, and I've utilized the tools that I have at my disposal to not publicly talk about my relationship or respond to the hate in really any way. Every once in a while I respond to a comment or like I have a moment, but for the most part I keep my mouth shut and I don't say anything. What I'm noticing right now is that people are starting to double. What I mean by doubling down is that people who have always hated, it feels like the hate is getting just a little bit more intense. And I think it's because it's becoming more and more obvious that I'm really not the villain in this relationship. And I don't feel like I need to defend myself because the receipts will speak for itself. I trust that as season 5 continues to air, that regardless of what the edits are, there's only so much you can do. And Yohan is a monster. He really is. And I love him dearly, but he's a monster. You know, and those two things can be true. He is my husband and he's also a monster. So
you see, so this is the problem that I have with this. I mean, how can he be a monster and she still says he's my husband, but it's more the way that she says it, and like she doesn't see that as a problem whatsoever. I don't really get that. And that's why I feel like she's playing mind games. If he's a monster, you divorce him. You leave him, you don't even have to stay in the DR. You could just leave, go back to the US. But no, you're still there filming it. How does that make sense? Is it just me? You guys let me know what you think about that. Like I said, it confuses me, and I do feel like Danielle is trying to play some kind of weird mind games with us. And I feel like these weird games she's playing might have caught up to her. And yes, I do think that Yohan is definitely not a saint whatsoever, and he's clearly in this relationship to use Danielle as much as he can. But now that it's become obvious that he probably won't be able to use her as much as he thought, you know, he's deciding this is it. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with these two. Like I said, when she says things like, oh, he's a monster, you're thinking that's it. It's all over for these two. This relationship is done. On the other hand, she could also be trying to kind of leverage herself in terms of the words that she says by not going too hard to break her NDA. Because when she says, oh, he's a monster and stuff like that, it's going to lead people to believe that the relationship is done. And that's a potential no-no for her NDA. So then she says, well, he's still my husband. So then people are like, okay, well, they're still married. So that she didn't break her NDA, or what happened? So you guys let me know what you think about this whole thing. It's a messy situation. To be honest with you guys, I'm getting a little tired about Yohan and Danielle's antics. I kind of wish that we would take a break from Yohan and Danielle, this back and forth. Are they together? Are they not? They're very obviously not compatible. And I feel like the storyline has completely hit a rough patch where it's just not advancing forward. And I feel like it's just done. It should have been done last season when Yohan walked out. They're basically copying and pasting the same exact outcome on the season. We'll see if there's any more to it, but it's just, I feel like it's just overdone at this point. You guys let me know if you agree. Let me know in the comment section. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a big thumbs up. If you did, hit that subscribe button down below for more content right here on the channel. And I will see you guys very soon. Take care.